I still remember the first time I went online. It was 1996, and I was in my high school's computer lab. That weekly hour had become something we waited for, like a miracle. There weren't enough computers for everyone, so we were divided into groups of 3. My group would spend entire weeks discussing what we'd do online. The internet was an open door to the world, a whole universe to explore. The quality of the sites, how they were built, the content, everything was fascinating, new, alive. I remember once I found a website that by entering your surname showed you all the people in the world who shared it. It connected to the Ellis Island archives, and through it I found distant cousins in Philadelphia. We're still in touch today. Then I remember another site, much more disturbing, that collected violent, macabre images. It was upsetting, but real. That's what the internet offered, raw, unfiltered reality. The beautiful, the ugly, the terrifying, without mediation. And then came Napster. What incredible memories. Every downloaded song felt like a tiny triumph. Every search engine, every directory, every keyword was a surprise. There was no predictability, no algorithms suggesting what to see. It was pure freedom. I deeply miss those days. And I can't quite explain how we got here. I don't know if it's just me, but the internet today, at least the part we're shown, is saturated with absolute mediocrity. It's disheartening, a pale shadow of what it was 20 years ago. The process of commercialization, carried out over the years, has eroded the resource like a stormy sea slowly devouring a beach. That beach was the internet. Today, only a few scattered grains remain. The creators of websites, often driven by real passion, specific expertise, love for a subject, have disappeared. Or rather, they're still there but invisible, buried under the logic of visibility, metrics, and algorithms. The pioneers of the internet shared everything: passions, collections, knowledge. I used to collect stamps, or at least tried to. There was this wonderful site made by a Swiss man who cataloged hundreds of stamps, telling their story, their origin, their context. It was amazing, but it wasn't just the content that made it special. It was the experience. You'd type German Shepherd and the results were astonishing. The first 10 pages were independent projects, each deeply different, each with its own voice. Today, I can't even click on the next page of search results, because they're all the same. Clone websites, articles written just to chase keywords, soulless pages. And it doesn't matter which search engine you use. Even with meta search engines, even when the results are better, the feeling is the same. It's like an absurd crowd of nothingness has invaded the web, drowning it in noise, homogenizing everything and burying discovery. The truth is that the internet became a mass tool, accessible to billions of people of all kinds. It used to be a small lake navigated by enlightened pioneers, competent, experienced, passionate people, often with high cultural backgrounds. In a sense, it was an elite tool. Today it has been massified, turned into a digital landfill, and finding a real gem among millions of scraps is not easy. But I must be honest, that democratization also gave a voice to people who were previously completely excluded. It allowed anyone to create, share, exist digitally. The problem isn't that the internet became accessible to all, but that in the process, we lost the tools to separate the wheat from the chaff. To this, we add the devastating mercantilist model, built by the companies that now dominate the web entirely. They've created a blind, mechanical, self-referential system. Just as blind are the contents made solely to please Google's SEO algorithm. Copy-paste articles, stuffed with keywords but devoid of real value. Annoying as summer hemorrhoids. The web has been trapped in an absurd logic. Publishers must fill their sites with ads to survive, and users respond with increasingly aggressive ad blockers. Meanwhile, search engines, whose business model relies on selling ads, should paradoxically reward the best content. But how does indexing really work today? Does it actually reward quality? Or is it just a self-replicating mechanism that amplifies the strong and buries everything else? In my view, something deep in the very structure of the internet has broken, and I doubt it can ever be recovered, at least not the open web as we knew it. Today we have the authorities, the major opinion hubs, Medium, Reddit, social media, and then there's YouTube. Yes, it's on the internet, but it's its own universe. Attention has clearly shifted there, and it's worth saying, YouTube is not the open web. It's a closed platform with its own rules. opaque algorithms, and an ecosystem that rewards something very different from pure quality. What I'm describing isn't just personal nostalgia, it's a documented phenomenon, backed by research that I want to share with you, because these studies precisely explain the mechanisms I experience as a creator every day. Online platforms commonly use engagement-based optimization for their recommendations. This pushes creators to invest in quality, but also rewards gaming. Tactics like clickbait. And by gaming, we mean everything, from eye-catching titles, thumbnails, to perfect publication timing. Recent studies show that when gaming becomes harder or costlier for creators, the average content quality actually drops. It's counterintuitive. We'd expect that reducing gaming would boost quality. But in fact, it creates an environment where low-effort content thrives, while quality work loses visibility. I live this daily. Look at the performance of my videos. The great tech lie and one click at a time. They have the same depth and power. If anything, the second one touches on an even more profound theme, yet it struggles. I changed the title, the thumbnail, but nothing worked. The first heads toward 100,000 views, the second remains stuck at 1,000. Both are appreciated. Well-made videos. But success doesn't depend solely on quality. That's the reality for content creators. My philosophical, reflective videos always struggle, and if I followed the algorithm's logic, I'd never make them again. These are videos that generate thought, contradictions, even unsubscribes, because audiences aren't used to that kind of engagement. Frequent use of social platforms alters dopamine pathways, a critical component in the brain's reward system, creating addiction patterns similar to drugs or slot machines. Studies show that social media exploit the same neural circuits used by cocaine and slot machines to keep us hooked. Over 1 billion people spent an average of 3 hours per day on social media in 2020, with some countries reporting averages over 4 hours. This forces me to pour energy into the first 30 seconds of every video. That's when engagement happens. A 20-minute video of mine has 30 seconds to be chosen. It's like judging a novel by its cover and introduction. It doesn't reward quality. We're consumed at lightning speed. Users want to feel stimulated instantly. There's always the next video waiting. All creators feel this now. It's physiological. Gen Z has an attention span of just 8 seconds, down from 12 in millennials. Longitudinal studies show that digital multitasking during early adolescence leads to more pronounced negative effects. 3 years of heavy internet use in children has been linked to decreased verbal intelligence and impaired development of gray and white brain matter. But let's talk about quality. What if quality isn't what audiences want? When I try to raise the bar in my videos, I lose connection with part of my viewers. And again, I'm lucky, because the Linux niche on YouTube is one of the hardest, but also one of the most informed. It resists these mass dynamics. Still, the trend is obvious and worrying, even for those creating thoughtful content. Online newspapers and content creators copy each other to calibrate just the right amount of clickbait. It works like this. When one outlet succeeds with a sensationalist headline, others imitate it, like when you see a long queue and instinctively join without knowing why. It's an environmental feedback loop. The interesting thing is that a sweet spot exists. Outlets that use too little clickbait are ignored. Those that overdo it burn out their readers. But those that hit the right balance win. It's like salt in pasta. Too little and it's bland. Too much and it's inedible. But when everyone starts using the same tricks, we get desensitized. Just like with overplayed pop songs, eventually everyone hates them. The result is a media ecosystem racing to the bottom in content quality. False information spreads more and reaches more people than truth on social media. A 2018 MIT study found that fake news is 70% more likely to be retweeted than accurate stories. The problem is structural, too few gatekeepers. And the business model of the web does not support quality journalism. Revenue has been decoupled from truth. In my case, the audience is highly knowledgeable. Every word I say is scrutinized. I can't afford to talk nonsense. In fact, the issue might be the opposite, hyperinformation, or the illusion of it, and the expectation that creators should be oracles. But we're a tight-knit community. I'm aware that my audience isn't random. The Linux community on YouTube is an exception, perhaps. Still, the trend is disturbing. I see it in my comments. On one side, smart users who strongly disagree but express their views. On the other, a wave of mediocrity and thoughtless takes. Research shows that excessive social media use is linked to increased anxiety, depression, loneliness, and body image concerns. A 2019 study in The Lancet found that spending more than 3 hours a day on social media increases the risk of mental illness in adolescents. There's a rising rage in online interactions. People gravitate toward extremes. Some take the time to comment on every one of my videos. I've had to permanently block some users, and many express opinions in an unbalanced, aggressive way when a calm discussion would suffice. The comment section feels more like an arena than a forum for ideas, and that affects how content is created. I try to soften it with disclaimers, but it doesn't always work. Quality content doesn't thrive in this environment. On the contrary, it's penalized. Some might look at my 10,000 subscribers and call it a success, especially since I've gained most of them in the past 4 months, when the channel truly became personal and intellectual, a serious project. But I can assure you, it could have been double, maybe more. All I had to do was stick to documentary-style videos about nostalgic historical events, one of those primal emotional triggers that always perform well. These are safe videos, the history of KDE, XFCE, Debian. They talk about the past and only generate approval. But is that real quality? In a sense, yes. But where's the discomfort? The things we don't like, that challenge us, that make us reflect? Where are they? This isn't about elitism. I'm not trying to be some radical intellectual. I hate that kind of posture. The problem is different. We're witnessing the rise of a generation of proud ignorance, blissfully unaware people who believe they know everything and feel entitled to speak on every subject without ever having studied, explored, or doubted. I was taught something different, that the truly wise are those who know they know nothing. I don't compare myself to Shakespeare, who I consider one of the 3 greatest poets in human history, alongside Homer and Dante. But imagine if they had to create content tailored to please their audience. Just imagine that. I'm just myself. And this channel is a reflection of me, my intellect, my view on technology, history, philosophy, debate, personal experience. It's not a masterpiece of a channel, but I believe it is high quality because of what it discusses, how it discusses it, and who it discusses it with. And I'm penalized for that. I should have at least 45,000 subscribers by now. Maybe in the end, the transformation I've witnessed from that classroom in the 90s to now isn't just a shift in internet dynamics. It's something deeper, a transformation of society itself, mirrored by the web. We're being lobotomized, pushed to the extremes, every opinion polarized, every discussion derailed, until we're left in a void, a place of total contradiction, where no idea can be clearly discussed. We're drowning in a constant, unstoppable flow of digital noise, of empty content, of distraction, and turning off the light, stepping back, thinking clearly, has become almost impossible. Yes, the old internet was magnificent. I remember it like a first love, flawed but real. And now, I just hope one thing, that in 20 years, I won't look back at this technological moment with the same deep melancholy. Because if I do, it means the worst is yet to come. It means we haven't hit bottom yet. And that's why I wanted to share this with you.